This piece raises a provocative point about marriage dynamics in China, one that's both culturally specific and universally relatable. It challenges the common narrative where dissatisfaction in a relationship is laid squarely at the partner's feet, in this case the husband's. The examples, blaming him for financial shortcomings, family tensions, or even breathing when in a bad mood, may sound exaggerated, but they capture a broader reality. In some marriages, criticism becomes habitual and appreciation fades. The article argues that men are not necessarily less capable now than before, but that women's expectations, patience, and contentment have shifted. That observation taps into a larger societal change. As economic and social roles evolve, so do relationship expectations. When a magnifying glass is used to find faults, even small flaws can feel enormous. Importantly, the text flips the perspective. Before criticizing a partner, examine your own contributions and behavior. If you want a better spouse, are you also striving to be a better partner? It's a call for empathy, urging people to see the hidden labor their spouse performs and to recognize that love is a two-way street. The reminder that there is no perfect partner is timeless wisdom. Marriage isn't about finding someone flawless, but about building a life with someone willing to work for the family's well-being. In an age of constant comparisons, especially in the social media era, this is a plea to focus less on what others have and more on the good within your own relationship. Ultimately, the closing note about contentment is the heart of it. Happiness in marriage often depends less on the partner's perfection and more on one's own ability to appreciate, empathize, and choose gratitude over constant comparison. This monologue is part frustration, part self-reflection, and part accidental relationship counseling. It starts with the classic saying that women in their 30s are like wolves, and in their 40s like tigers. A nod to the stereotype that women's desire peaks in midlife. The speaker's confusion, why is his wife the opposite, becoming more distant, sets the tone for an honest, if slightly defensive, discussion. On the surface, he points the finger at women, suggesting the problem lies with them, not him. But as he talks, a deeper truth emerges. Emotional disconnection and impatience have slowly replaced intimacy. He admits weight gain and perhaps a decline in physical energy, but he also rightly identifies that intimacy isn't purely physical. It thrives when emotional warmth, shared experiences, and mutual respect are present. One telling moment comes when he recalls his wife checking if he was breathing during sleep. It touched him deeply, a sign that the bond is still there. But that warmth vanished quickly after a small, cold exchange the next day. It's a perfect example of how fragile emotional connection can be when underlying frustrations remain unresolved. His proposed solution: more romance, ritual, and emotional investment before seeking physical intimacy, is actually spot on. Too often, couples try to fix physical distance without addressing emotional distance. He recognizes that temperature in a marriage doesn't drop overnight. It fades when everyday kindness, empathy, and shared joy are neglected. Takeaway: if intimacy is fading, start by tending to the emotional climate. Small gestures, shared experiences, and genuine care matter far more than simply expecting desire to return on its own. Physical connection is often the byproduct of emotional closeness, not the other way around. This reflection is a mix of nostalgia, social observation, and a subtle critique of gender relations over time. The speaker contrasts the innocence of youth, when love was idealized through Qiangyao novels and imperfections in men were forgiven or even seen as charming, with the cynicism that has crept in by middle age. In youth, romance was a source of joy and admiration. Girls who dated often were envied, and men's flaws were softened by the glow of affection. Roughness could be reframed as manliness, and the cultural script celebrated the pursuit of love over academic or material achievements. Now the tone is different. The speaker notes that while many women aren't inherently man-haters, negative experiences, particularly with middle-aged men who have accumulated too many bad habits, have fostered a growing sense of aversion. This is not presented as an abstract feminist critique, but as a lived, personal shift in perception. It's also telling that the speaker admits to sharing the same dislike for middle-aged men, signaling that the change isn't just out there, but within herself as well. Dating culture appears to have cooled. Where once romance was an aspirational, almost universal pursuit, it's now less common and less admired. The romantic optimism of youth has given way to guardedness, skepticism, and in some cases outright hostility, not necessarily toward men as individuals, but toward the disappointments and frustrations that years of interaction have brought. The underlying message is both wistful and sobering. The way we view relationships is shaped not only by our ideals but by our experiences, and those experiences, good or bad, can transform youthful warmth into midlife chill. This statement is a tongue-in-cheek but pointed observation about shifting gender dynamics in modern society. It reflects a growing sentiment among some women that the traditional need for a man in daily life has eroded, not because men have changed dramatically, but because women's independence has expanded. The speaker lists it plainly: financial independence, home ownership, car ownership, self-sufficiency in cooking and daily life. In earlier generations, these were often areas where men's role was seen as essential. Now many women can and do cover all of them on their own, and sometimes with better results. The sting comes in the comparison. A single woman has whatever she wants, but a woman with a man often has nothing she wants. That flips the old romantic ideal upside down, from partnership as a source of security and fulfillment to partnership as a potential drain on resources, peace, and happiness. This isn't just about cynicism toward men. It's about a deeper recalibration of expectations in relationships. If a man is to be part of a modern woman's life, he needs to bring something beyond what she can already provide for herself. Emotional support, partnership in values, and shared joy matter more now than the traditional provider role. Underneath the humor is a serious challenge. In an era where women can thrive independently, men must rethink what they contribute to a relationship, or risk becoming, in the eyes of some, optional. This post captures a very raw and unfiltered snapshot of what seems like emotional burnout, apathy, and mild existential numbness that can develop in some people. Not necessarily just in women over 35, but in anyone who has been emotionally overextended, disappointed, or simply disillusioned with life over time. A few notable points stand out. Loss of interest and motivation. The speaker describes no longer having strong preferences for food, places, people, or experiences, and "it doesn't matter" attitude. This is a hallmark of emotional detachment, often linked to prolonged dissatisfaction or depression-like symptoms. Even when meeting someone attractive or ideal on paper, there's no spark to act on it. Social withdrawal. Friends invite her out, but she instinctively declines with excuses. This avoidance isn't just about introversion. It's about feeling drained by the idea of socializing, even with people she once might have enjoyed being with. Paradox of isolation. She doesn't want to socialize, but when she's alone, she also loses the will to do anything productive or enjoyable. This is a vicious cycle where neither solitude nor company feels fulfilling. Emotional flatness. A faint feeling of death is a haunting phrase. Not necessarily suicidal, but pointing to a sense of life's vitality fading away. She no longer feels the urge to share experiences, gossip, or even react strongly to events in her life. Possible underlying causes. The piece hints at the weight of societal expectations, especially for unmarried women past a certain age in some cultures, combined with personal disillusionment in relationships and daily life monotony. It may also reflect a deeper psychological state like dysthymia, persistent low-grade depression, or emotional exhaustion from years of navigating disappointments. Commentary takeaway. This is a poignant portrayal of how emotional numbness can creep into one's life, not through one big event, but through a slow erosion of enthusiasm and purpose. It's also a quiet rebellion against societal pressure to keep chasing milestones like marriage, romance, or constant socializing. If anything, it serves as a reminder that while solitude and detachment can sometimes be healing, unchecked emotional withdrawal can lead to losing touch with life's small joys, making it important to find new sources of meaning before the apathy fully takes root.